Hello, dear friends. It is said that world will change a lot in a couple of years, but that remains to be seen. Opinion piece. In a few years, a utopian world, expansion period. In just a few years, a couple of years, science fiction world, new power structure, end of consumer society, the changing of the ages, on the other side of time, end of the sand paradigm. We have traveled from future. Let's start. In a few years, the world will be very different from today due to changes in population, energy, technology, environment, and way of living and work, with a focus on creativity and education. Communications will continue to be part of daily life, with a greater presence of virtual and augmented reality. The global economy will continue to evolve towards greater collaboration between countries. The diet can change towards a greater presence of products originating from plants and less dependence on animal products. Education will continue to be fundamental to progress, with a focus on innovation and creativity. The future is uncertain, and the decisions we make today can change the course of events. New energy, a new science, a new technology, and a new understanding of the human being have already begun to emerge, so that 70% of the funding of the old system would disappear in a couple of years, according to Cliff Hyde's prediction. Humankind will manifest completely different energies while new emanations arrive from the galactic center, and while we are controlled by a clan that doesn't want this energy to be recognized, accepted, absorbed, or integrated. The clan's ability to continue its control mentality is diminishing due to these energies. The dispute that arises from atoms to retain control, even though this new energy is further eroding their ability to control the rest of humankind. This circumstance brings discomfort and conflict. This period is indeed the change of the eras. It is not possible for us to accurately estimate the magnitude of what these changes will produce within humankind, but a fundamental change will be the disappearance of the cult of worship of Elohim. Much of this will be achieved by the disappearance of all current power structures, as this cult can only exist within an obsolete authority. They are in decline now, and will cease to be a significant force in a few years. Exhaustion. In a few years, the consumer society will not exist. None of the strategies or tactics of the worship service will be successful. Its ability to deny time and movement of our solar system into new energies has been exhausted. Humankind is changing, and there is nothing you can do to stop it. In a few years, on the other side of the time of trials, on the other side of the period of dictating a path, humankind will emerge in the world of science fiction. At that time, environmentalism will not mean climate nuts, but human beings who will actively work to eliminate pollution and increase the ability of the biosphere. There will be hundreds of thousands of new farms. The food body of planet Earth will increase in diversity as the various ecosystems are studied in a real way that includes the notion of consciousness as an active participant in our developing reality. Freedom. There will be completely new industries and science will be free. A new academic structure will emerge, but it will not include the current control mechanisms. The new information will cause the disappearance of all Abrahamic relations. Exposure to the Elohim will be the decisive factor in the dissolution of these religions based on the distortion of the human past. This knowledge will take all the mystery out of religion. In a few years, we will build a science fiction world. This will be surprisingly rapid on its manifestation, with the removal of the mental blocks of the cult of worship overlapping science. Due to the liberation of science from the arena paradigm, new discoveries will quickly put us on the path to the recovery and exploitation of new technologies. New understanding of real science will quickly lead to the creation of new industries and opportunities. In a few years, a science fiction world will emerge around you, both in new infrastructure and in new social activities. Humanity itself, individually and collectively, is changing due to the rising energies of the galactic center that are part of our solar system's passage around the edge of the galaxy. In a few years, there will be a completely different you, and you will explore a completely different world populated by a humanity completely different. Timelines. According to Meg Benedict, many of us have traveled from the future, time hopping between realities, helping angelic currents secure a future timeline on Gaia. We were all born in the ancient Atlantis timeline, but by a few at the top of the hierarchy who control the world's operating systems. This timeline goes back to the dark history of the invasion during the Orion Wars of the fallen angels. Planet Earth was overtaken by a matrix of artificial hierarchy that controlled all resources. The good news is that none of that exists in the new Earth's future timeline. It is pure, clean, untainted by Earth's violent past history. The future timeline is heart-centered, compassionate, collaborative, and alive in unity consciousness. Expansion. According to Judith Castle, we are entering a time of great expansion, not only of our consciousness, but of all of life. It is like an explosion of new life and new beginnings, not only for us, but for all the life and life forms. You have noticed how new species are suddenly appearing worldwide, and even species that were thought to be extinct. Notice how the new Earth is making its presence felt in every leaf, tree, rock, in the waters, the air, the fires, the earth, and now everything is acquiring colors and nuances, full of light of higher frequencies. It is beautiful to become aware of all this and bless each living being, each living cell that contains life born again. Let us be renewed with awe and reverence at the unfolding of an entirely new higher dimensional life, and embrace it, first within your heart, and expand into the highest version of your soul, as one with all that is. Let's begin to anchor ourselves in the new golden age, for the greatest good of all. Let us walk with joy, open to all the miracles that are there in the eternal now. Europe. Sweden has failed to integrate its immigrants. The EU criticizes France and Italy for excessive debt. According to My Christo 8, Lagarde has destroyed the Eurobond market. This would be the reason why the EU has postponed the application of Basel III. Pope Francis faces a UN investigation for alleged illegal eavesdropping in an embezzlement scandal. Travel agencies say new EU border controls are bad for tourism. Today's Europeans are the strangest human beings in history, an individualistic minority with a lot of impact on the rest of the world's population. According to Joseph Henrich, these individuals exhibit characteristics that drastically distinguish them from more traditional cultures. He therefore considers Westerners as a psychological minority, whose behavior and mentality is not only atypical but also very influential in science and world politics. Conflicts. Approved a bill for military registration between 18 and 26 years of age in the US. The UN accuses Israel of violating the laws of war against Gaza. Tens of thousands of Israelis once again call for elections and a ceasefire in Gaza. North Korea and Russia signed a strategic partnership and mutual defense agreement. The BRICS countries abandoned political and military support for Ukraine and the meeting in Switzerland. Spain. Spain registers more than 100,000 babies in the first 4 months of 2024, 1.2% more than 2023. Brussels saves Spain from an excessive deficit file despite closing 2023 with 3.6%. Spain Defense Minister rejects the idea of sending troops to Ukraine. Spain is the NATO country that invests the least percentage of GDP in weapons. Spain joins the process initiated by South Africa against Israel for alleged genocide. The price of electricity shoots up almost 60% in June and points to a further increase at the end of the month. Why doesn't Spain build public housing in the face of the unstoppable rise in prices and the shortage of real estate? Spanish 15-year-old students surpass those of the EU and the OECD in creative thinking. The oldest wine in the world is found in Spain during the excavation of an ancient Roman mausoleum in Carmona, Seville. This is the town of Spain where Hollywood has filmed several movies. This is Monsul Beach in Níjar, Almería, known for its beaches with crystal clear waters and fine sand. The spectacular destination offers a paradise of tranquility and beauty for lovers of national tourism in summer. Americas. Mexico talks with the US after a new suspension of avocado imports. 80% of Mexicans support the reform of the judiciary, according to Morena's internal survey. Mexican authorities find activist Ceci Flores safe in a shelter. Chihuahua has a 3-year deadline to become the aeronautical capital of Mexico. AMLO celebrates the regularization of immigrant families living in the US. The US launches a plan to regularize immigrants married to Americans. More than half of Latinos in the US have problems making ends meet. Mexico signs an agreement with Switzerland to mediate with Ecuador. AMLO criticizes IMF the recommendations for Mexico. We prefer to act with autonomy, he says. Argentina and El Salvador sign security cooperation agreement. The IMF estimates a greater decline in the Argentine economy for this year. The IMF warns about a strong Argentine recession, but announces new disbursements for Milei. Milei highlights the support of the IMF and the World Bank while denying devaluation pressures. Thirsty for energy, Argentina and Brazil place Paraguay in a key place. Brazil welcomes Russian ballet, music and opera and refuses cultural cancellation. Venezuela signs contracts with the BRICS bloc for various investments. Heavy rains in Central America leave flooding and landslides. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.